just a simple analogy of how an export business can take someone that is at the lower ebb of income to a higher ebb. Let me just give you, let's assume that we have a simple case study of Mr. Sonny that desired to export snail from Nigeria to a place like in the UK. Simple. I want you to just look at this little analogy, and at the end of it, you'll find out there's a more reason why you should be involved in export business. Let me assume Mr. Sonny works with the Ministry of Education and he earns 70,000 naira, and he says, I cannot be able to use this to build long-lasting wealth. I want to go into the exportation of snail. An average snail in Nigeria, average snail in Nigeria could be just 200 naira. Let me assume Mr. Sonny said, okay, I want to go in and source for this product so that I will be able to be exporting this product from Nigeria to the UK or to the United States. I'm going to give you just a simple analogy of what Mr. Sonny will aim in a span of 2 to 3 weeks as he goes through the process. Mr. Sonny goes to the village somewhere within Ondo State to buy a snail, an average size snail. An average size snail in our market, in our local market, has always sold in a basket, and the average price of the snail in the basket is within the range of 8,000 naira, whereas an average basket have a minimum of 40 snail in a basket. Let me say this: Mr. Sonny goes to the market to buy snail, and the average size snail and the price of a basket where we have a minimum of 40 is 8,000 naira. 8,000 naira plus for one baskets of snail. And Mr. Sonny go ahead, buy one basket, and Mr. Sonny has made up his mind for this first shipment. I'm going to send a minimum of a crate, and a crate composed of 20 average size of snail. Mr. Sonny said, okay, I want to take one crate of snail to the United Kingdom. I want you to look up. Average size is 8,000 naira, and for one basket, and to get, I said a crate is about 200 pieces of snail in a crate, and Mr. Sonny has made up his mind to send 200 pieces of snail, which is one crate, to the United Kingdom. Mr. Sonny, all you need to do is just to get, he said, 40 snail in a basket, 40 snail in one basket, and Mr. Sonny wants a crate. So what Mr. Sonny will do is 40 times 5 gets 200 pieces of snail. 200 pieces of snail. And Mr. Sonny wants, I said 8,000 per crate. So let's say 8,000 naira times 5,000 naira times 5, sorry. Mr. Sonny will have 40,000 naira. So Mr. Sonny has been able to get one crate for one crate. Now, when you hear one crate, I'm not talking of a crate of mineral. I'm actually talking of a crate of snail. I'm not talking of a crate of herbs or whatever. A crate of snail. Normally, exporting snail from this country is always they are always crated. So that's why I'm using the word crates. Now, look up. Mr. Sonny now was able to procure one crate of snail from our local market for 40,000 naira. He has gotten a crate. That is 200 pieces of snail, an average size snail. Then Mr. Sonny go ahead and say, okay, I've already gotten the one crate of snail. I want to go ahead and export this one snail of a crate of snail. Now there are procedures, there are some certain expenses Mr. Sonny is going to procure in the process of exporting this snail to United Kingdom. There are documentations, like for example, Mr. Sonny will need to pay for the crate itself, need to create his crates, pay for those that will build the crates, 4,000 naira to build the crates. Look up, 4,000 naira to build the crates. Mr. Sonny will also go to Nigeria Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Agriculture under the quarantine service under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Mr. Sonny will pay for the quarantine service. The quarantine service will charge Mr. Sonny to give him a quarantine certificate for those snails for 20,000 naira. Also, Mr. Sonny will go ahead also to that same ministry, because they are the ones saddled with the responsibility when it has to do with livestock. They will say, okay, Mr. Sonny will also pay for fumigations so that those crates will be fumigated from pest and rodents. So Mr. Sonny will pay for 13,000. Will also pay 13,000 naira for 13,500. Sorry, for the fumigations. So quarantine the crates, then QT quarantine. Then afterward, you will pay for the fumigation. Then another very important thing, Mr. Sonny is going to cargo this product from Nigeria down to whatever country. Normally, an average price of a tonnage of a kilogram, when you're using the airline, the cargo airline, the average price, I want you to get this, the average price is 350 naira. 350 naira per kg for the cargo for 350 naira times, let's say the average weight of a crate is within 100 kg to 150 kg. Let's use the highest average. So we are going to use the 150. So when you times 350 to 150, you get something about 52,000. Yeah, that would be 52,500 naira. 52,500 naira. When we add all this together, we're going to be having a total of 110,000. Remember, the price for the principal product is 40,000 naira. So when you put everything together, 40,000 naira plus 110,000 naira, we'll have about 150,000 naira. Now remember, you don't just go into a business without putting what we call contingencies. So let's assume we are going to have a contingencies of about 20,000 naira. So Mr. Sonny is going to be spending for buying the product and all the procedure that is involved in the product. Is going to be spending about 170,000 naira. Wow, it's just 170,000 naira. You know, the idea is, he has spent 170,000 naira. A curious person will ask me, what will it take us? What will it take Mr. Sonny? How much will Mr. Sonny use in selling, the snail? It's so funny. Let me give you the magic in this matter. An average snail in the United Kingdom or in the United States, as the case may be, is 125. An average price of snail, 4 pieces of snail, is about $25. Sorry, $25. And in the wholesales, the price of a crate, an average crate, because Mr. Sonny is not going to be sending it there and be selling it retail. He's going to be selling it to major off-takers that buy themselves and in turn sell it to the consumer. So Mr. Sonny, the average sales of a crate in the United States or United Kingdom is within the range. We normally use the dollar equivalent in international trade. So it's within the 1,000 American dollars. An average exchange rate for today's exchange rate, or the regular exchange rate for now, is within 360 in naira or 362. Let's just use 360. 360,000 naira. Mr. Sonny is selling the crates of that average size of the snails for 360,000 naira. Simple. You already have figures here. Figures, like they say, never lies. You can see all the steps. And now when you get to 360,000 naira in our local currency, which is naira, you just subtract the minus the 170,000 naira from the 360,000 naira. Mr. Sonny is going to be having a remain of about is you take this one, you have 200, you take this one, you're going to be having 190,000 naira. 190,000 naira. Wow. This is not rocket science. This only can come to fruition if someone desire or have a passion to increase his source of income. There is no job you ever do, there's no job, no matter where you work, that you'll be able to have an average of this return on your investment.